The South China Sea may seem distant and irrelevant, but its impact reaches far beyond its shores. Beneath the surface, it's not just a regional squabble, it's a slow-burning crisis that could disrupt the global system we all depend on. The sea is a vital artery for global trade, affecting the goods we buy and the prices we pay. The rules being tested there, freedom of navigation, respect for international law, are the foundation of global stability. If these principles break down, the effects will ripple across the world, touching every consumer and business. What happens in these contested waters could reshape the world order. The ripples from this distant sea are already heading for our shores. At the heart of this geopolitical chessboard lies China, a nation with a rapidly growing economy and an increasingly assertive military posture. China stakes its claim on nearly the entire South China Sea, an area rich in resources and vital shipping lanes, basing its argument on what it calls historical rights, a claim contested by many. This assertion is visualized through the infamous 9-dash line, a demarcation that loops far into Southeast Asian waters. Pushing back against these claims are several smaller Southeast Asian nations, each with their own reasons to challenge China's expansive reach. First, the Philippines, then Vietnam, followed by Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan, all standing their ground, defending their own territorial claims and jealously guarding their exclusive economic zones, rich in fisheries and potential energy resources. The United States, while maintaining a neutral stance on the specific territorial disputes, insists on freedom of navigation for all nations in these international waters and actively supports its regional allies through military partnerships and diplomatic efforts. For smaller nations bordering the South China Sea, this isn't just about lines on a map. It's about survival, protecting their access to vital natural resources, safeguarding their fishing grounds, and asserting their sovereignty against a much larger power. For China, control of the South China Sea is perceived as crucial for national security, a means of power projection into the wider Indo-Pacific region, and a symbol of its growing national pride and global influence. For the US and the broader international community, the stakes are about upholding international law, preserving the principle of freedom of the seas, and preventing a dangerous precedent that could embolden other nations to disregard established norms. If might makes right in the South China Sea, the entire global order, built on international laws and treaties, could begin to unravel, leading to increased instability and conflict. At stake are fundamental principles of sovereignty, national security, and territorial integrity, and the very rules and agreements that have been painstakingly established to maintain peace and stability in the world. This is far more than just a local dispute between a few nations. It's a critical test of the international community's commitment to a rules-based order and its ability to peacefully resolve complex geopolitical challenges. The South China Sea is a global crossroads. 1/3 of world shipping worth trillions passes through these waters. Disruption here would send shockwaves through supply chains, raising prices worldwide. Beneath the sea lie vast reserves of oil, gas, and rich fishing grounds, critical for regional economies and food security. Militarily, the sea is high ground. China's artificial islands now bristle with runways and missiles, shifting the balance of power. These outposts let China project force and monitor all traffic, challenging decades of US naval dominance. The risk, a flashpoint between the world's two largest powers, with global consequences. Control of the South China Sea means control of trade, resources, and security. That's why the world is watching. The roots of this dispute are tangled in history and law. Each country presents maps and records to justify its claims, but China's sweeping 9-dash line overlaps with the exclusive economic zones of its neighbors. The modern legal framework, UNCLOS, sets clear rules, but China's claim clashes with these principles. For China, backing down would be a blow to national pride. For others, accepting the 9-dash line means surrendering resources and sovereignty. This isn't just about territory, it's about identity, history, and the future order of the region. The legal and historical narratives are irreconcilable, making compromise elusive. The result, a standoff with no easy solution. In 2013, the Philippines challenged China's claims at an international tribunal, arguing the 9-dash line had no legal basis. China refused to participate, calling the case illegitimate. In 2016, the tribunal ruled overwhelmingly in favor of the Philippines, invalidating China's sweeping claims. China rejected the verdict, denouncing it as meaningless and accelerating its activities in the disputed waters. Instead of easing tensions, the ruling deepened the divide. China doubled down on militarization and patrols. The world saw a major power openly defy international law. The legal victory changed little on the water, but it set a precedent for the global order. The South China Sea became a test of whether law or power would prevail. Since the 2016 ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which invalidated China's expansive claims, the South China Sea has become a stage, a maritime theater, for constant, high-stakes brinkmanship, a delicate dance on the edge of potential disaster. Chinese Coast Guard, acting as the vanguard of Beijing's ambitions, and maritime militia swarm disputed areas, asserting a presence that blurs the line between civilian and military activity. Using intimidation and gray zone tactics, subtle yet assertive actions to assert control, gradually tightening their grip on contested waters. Standoffs with the Philippines and Vietnam are frequent, a regular occurrence in this tense environment, with water cannons, blockades, preventing access to traditional fishing grounds and resources, and dangerous maneuvers, pushing the boundaries of acceptable behavior at sea. Each incident risks escalation. A misstep, a misunderstanding, a single miscalculation could spark a wider conflict, drawing in regional and global powers. The U.S. responds with regular naval patrols, asserting its commitment to freedom of navigation, and joint drills with allies, strengthening partnerships and interoperability in the region, challenging China's claims and signaling resolve, demonstrating a willingness to defend international law. China sees these moves as provocations, an infringement on its sovereign rights, responding with its own military exercises, showcasing its growing naval capabilities and close encounters, testing the resolve of its adversaries. The region is crowded with armed ships, a concentration of naval power unlike anywhere else in the world, and aircraft, constantly patrolling the skies and seas, the margin for error shrinking, with potentially catastrophic consequences. The risk of accidental conflict is rising, a constant threat looming over the region. The world watches, hoping deterrence holds, and that diplomacy can prevail before it's too late. The South China Sea isn't just a distant flashpoint on a map, a place most people only hear about in the news. It's far more than just a geographical location. It's intricately tied to the very fabric of your daily life, influencing things you might not even realize. From the products you buy to the prices you pay, its impact is pervasive. Disruption here, even a minor one, would choke global trade, creating bottlenecks and delays that ripple across the world. The consequences would be felt everywhere. It would raise prices on essential goods and services, impacting household budgets and contributing to inflationary pressures worldwide, and threaten jobs everywhere, as businesses struggle with increased costs and supply chain disruptions, potentially leading to layoffs and economic instability. A clash, even a small-scale one, could draw in major global powers like the US and China, escalating tensions and creating a dangerous geopolitical situation, risking catastrophic war between nuclear powers, a scenario that would have unimaginable consequences for the entire planet. The stakes are that high. Thankfully, diplomacy is ongoing, with various parties working to find peaceful resolutions. ASEAN and other nations are actively pushing for a binding code of conduct, hoping to establish clear rules and guidelines for behavior in the region. Meanwhile, the US and its allies are working to build coalitions, strengthening alliances and partnerships to promote stability and security, all in an effort to uphold international law and ensure that disputes are resolved peacefully and in accordance with established legal principles. But progress is slow, and breakthroughs are often hard-won, and the stakes are enormous, demanding careful consideration and a commitment to finding common ground. The outcome of these efforts will shape the global order for decades to come, influencing international relations and the balance of power. Will disputes be settled by law and diplomacy, or will they be resolved through force and coercion? A stable, open South China Sea where freedom of navigation is respected benefits everyone, fostering economic growth and international cooperation. But a militarized, volatile one where tensions are high and conflict is a constant threat puts all at risk, undermining stability and prosperity. These seemingly distant waters are, in reality, shaping your future in profound and often unseen ways. Understanding why this region matters and the complex dynamics at play is now more critical than ever before.